When you think about your future, are you filled with excitement or dread? High school can sometimes feel like, hey, welcome to freshman year. Where do you want to go to college? And what do you want to do for the rest of your life, right? It can feel like all at once, you're expected to know what you want your future to be like, plan all of your classes and extracurriculars accordingly, and get on the right path from day dot. And let's be honest, that's a little intense. On top of that, our culture can add a lot of pressure and expectations on teens and young adults to live successful and Instagram-worthy lives. Then, some families add their own layers of expectation to go into the family business, become wealthy, or get into a top school. Or some of you come from the opposite kind of family that didn't do well in life or didn't come from much, so you put even more expectation on yourself to be the first to graduate or the first to fill in the blank. This immense pressure and expectation can get so intense that it feels like it bubbles over, and we're in a constant state of stress that leads to striving, that leads to exhaustion. If we're not careful, we can convince ourselves that our future wish list is actually our needs list. And if we don't get everything on it, we won't be okay. This can encourage us to put too much pressure on ourselves. When you think about your future, I'll ask another question. Who makes it happen? Who makes it happen? Our world loves to praise the self-made man. Our world loves to hustle and grind. We're known for burning the candle at both ends. And many people insist on going the extra mile. Because after all, no pain, no gain. And we definitely want to work hard, play hard. So if that means we need to burn the midnight oil, then so be it. Because working like a dog and leaving it all in the field means we can be successful and our future can be secured. No, but seriously, there is a reason why there are so many idioms or expressions like those I just used, illustrating hard work. Many of us can find ourselves wrapped up in the stress of our future and doing whatever it takes to make it possible, even if we sacrifice health and rest along the way. Within what can become a rat race of life, it can be easier to worry about the future than to rest at all, let alone rest in God. The crazy thing is that God has a different message to us about our future and a different message to us about who needs to provide for who. Matthew 6:25-30 tells us about that. It says, "This is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? Look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for your heavenly Father feeds them. And aren't you far more valuable to Him than they are? Can all your worries add a single moment to your life?" I like to think of it this way. Pigeons, us, right? Pigeons, us. We can all agree a pigeon's value is objectively lower than you and me. And yet pigeons and all of their gross bird poop glory, also, are they robots? We don't know. They never have to worry or wonder what they will eat or where they will sleep. They trust that something, or if their bird brains can even comprehend a God, they trust that God will provide the crumbs of their dreams. So why does Jesus make this ridiculous comparison? To show us how ridiculous the thought is that He would leave us to provide for ourselves. In the same way a devoted and healthy mother would not give birth to her baby and then not feed it any milk, God would not create us and then leave us on our own. Jesus makes it clear that He's meant to be our provider and we are not meant to worry. He continues painting this beautiful picture of how much He cares for us as we continue reading in Matthew 6. It says, "And why worry about your clothing?" Let's pause here. Replace clothing with literally anything. Why do you worry about your college, your job, your grades, your future? Okay, you get the point. Replace it with anything. I'll take it from the top. And why do you worry about your clothing? Look at the lilies of the field and how they grow. They don't work or make their clothing. And yet Solomon, who is a steezy king of the day, in all of his glory, was not dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for the wildflowers that are here today and thrown in the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith? Oof, with the right hook on that last line, right? Why do you have so little faith? This is a matter of faith, and this is a matter of trust, and this is a choice. We can choose to trust that God will provide for our daily needs and our future needs, and that is where we can continue to find rest. That is where we choose to trust God's provision and remove ourselves from the rat race of life and the constricting clutches of pressure and expectation that drives us to work and strive in unhealthy ways. Part of finding rest in our souls is trusting that God will provide for our daily needs and our future needs. Now for you, you don't get to go home and tell your parents that you don't need to do anything because God will provide. Rather, we get to partner with God and find healthy balance in our lives. It's important to have social and personal priorities and academic priorities, but I encourage you to have a balanced perspective in pursuing those things and simultaneously trusting God with the future. You can find rest deep in your soul by trusting that God will provide for your daily needs and your future needs. In understanding how to rest in God in regards to provision and our futures, we can move towards our future with optimism and excitement. We can take the pressure off of ourselves to be a self-made man or woman and can find rest in knowing that we are walking towards our future with the Lord on our side. Let's talk more about that in our small group time.